Iran, people don't forget there is an 8% Kurd there. That's my point of view.
Maren, did you want to follow up with that?
Sorry for interrupting. Sorry, Maren.
Let me clarify, Sarah. Sarah, hang on. Let me clarify.
No, there was a guy in the chat who's like making very, very nasty comments. Maybe somebody wants to.
It's okay. I see it, but I think it's also important to see that it exists there, Sarah John. Okay, because that is also telling. Again, we're talking about complexities of all of this. There are people out there who make the statement, nuke Iran, right? I mean, they even create an account about it. We can disavow it, we can get upset about it, but we can't ignore that it exists, in my humble opinion. To answer Dave, I think I understand where you're coming from with the whole reliance on the Kurd part and bringing that. I didn't say definitively that it's Kurds. I said in response to Ro, when he asked me about this, I said that the complexity of it does cause a concern for me looking at it from the outside based off of 120 years. So when you have a population of Iranians globally, 80 plus million inside, and you have so many different factions and people that subscribe to a different type of political affiliation or ideology, it begs the question, where's the utopia? Where's that utopian leader or group of leaders? If you really want my opinion, I think that the leaders of Iran are in those jails. I think that the dissidents and the political activists that have given their blood, sweat, and tears and have stayed in the country and have fought against the government, those people, to me, in my humble opinion, are the ones that are truly the ones that can navigate all of this, because even sociologically or psychologically, they've earned the respects of their compatriots inside of Iran enough because they see them that have stayed there. Whether we on the outside have different judgments and opinions about them, and we want to go down conspiracy rabbit holes or affix a label to them, regardless of what we think on the outside, the people of inside of Iran, they recognize who's in prison right now. So that's where I'll land on that part, Dave. And that's what I was trying to explain, is there's a complexity there of all the different.
Let me chime in here with a quick question. I think the commentary in the chat, and you referenced it, Miriam, begs a provocative question. And I'd like for you, if you could, to answer it directly. The question is this: do you think that Iran should have nuclear weapons? And if so, or if not, why or why not?
That's a great question, TC. That was actually a question we were talking about yesterday, and I've been on different panels talking about this. On principle, I think every sovereign nation has the right to do that. The issue about Iran having nuclear capabilities started actually in the late 1960s and 1970. So during that time, there was Project Flower. You had the Shah of Iran back then, the late Shah, asking the United States for the ability to develop a nuclear program. The question right now is, do we trust this regime enough to have a nuclear program? My question to that is, what type of government would anyone trust to have a nuclear program? And the foundational principled question is, does every sovereign nation have the right to do it, right? Have the right to have it? And so if you look back at the history of Iran, it's not exclusive to 46 years, this question about nuclear programs, nuclear reactors. The Shah of Iran had a program to have 22 or 23 nuclear sites. Before Ford was Nixon. Nixon said, okay, let's work on an agreement. Let's talk to each other about this. So they had that. Then you had the Guadalupe conference that happened. In the middle of that, you had Ford come in. So the complexity and the accuracy of the chronological timeline of all this lends itself to the question of, when will the West or anyone in general be satisfied, and what regime will be satisfied for something like this to happen? So on principle alone, yes, I believe that Iran has the right to have the same things that Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Israel, America, every other country has. I would be a liar if I